everybody, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I decided to do a little bit of an eye look. We are doing this eye look that I have on my eyes right now. It's a really pretty sunset inspired look. I did dabble into the Paradise Desert eyeshadow palette by The Fashion Freak. She collabed with Catrice to bring together this eye palette for everybody. Thank you guys again for coming to my channel. Please subscribe before you leave, and why don't we just get right on into this video. So to start off the look today, we're going to be starting our eyes. I am going to be using the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Fair 4. I'm going to be putting the concealer on my eyelids first so that the eyeshadows have a clean slate to go onto. Also, I haven't tried this concealer yet, so I'm super excited to be trying it today. Also, I got the Face and Body Sponge by Real Techniques because Casey Holmes always uses it. I was really curious to try it. This thing is huge. It is so big. I do really like the Real Techniques normal size sponge. I think I'm going to be a fan of this, and it blends stuff out like super quickly. To set that concealer down, we're just going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me in Fair 5, the usual. So like I said in the beginning, we're going to be dabbling into this Paradise Desert palette by Catrice. It looks like this. It's super, super pretty. When I open this up though, the shadows are super, super small. They don't really look like it on here, but they're really, really small. That's kind of a downside. I mean, it was super cheap. It was only like $14, but like I wish I would have gotten like a little bit bigger eyeshadows. So starting off with this Morphe M535 brush, it's just a fluffy crease brush. We're going to be going into this shade right here, just this neutral brown color, and this is just going to act as our crease color. There is some kickback, if you guys can see. There's not a ton, it's just a little bit, but they're very powdery. The color is really pretty, but it's taking a really long time to build this up. So next we're going to be going right into this orange shade with the Morphe M441. And we're just going to put that right below that brown color. So as I'm blending, I feel like I'm blending most of the color away, which is really annoying. You do get a lot of pigment initially when you put it on the brush, but now as I'm blending, it's like all disappearing. Alright, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to go back into that first initial brown shade that we used to blend out that orange. So next we're going to take this yellow onto this MAC 217 brush, and we're going to be putting that also in the crease, just below that orange shade. So we're going to kind of create like a sunset effect. Alright, so that's about the best I can do for pigment. As you can see, it's not very pigmented. So then our last step is we're going to be putting this shimmery gold shade onto our eyelids with this Morphe M421 brush. It's super tiny, so you can really get that color packed on there. So first we're going to go in without any Fix Plus or spray at all and see kind of how it goes on, and then we'll probably end up spraying our brush in the end. Okay, so I'm going to be spraying my brush with this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Primer Water. Just kind of giving it a couple spritzes so that it's wet, and then going back into that gold shade, seeing if we can get some more pigment. Just to blend that shade out, we're going back in with that yellow in the crease. And also back in with that orange as well. Then on just a normal flat shader brush, we're going to be taking the shade right here to highlight our brow bone and also our inner corners. So I want to add a little bit of glitter to the eye, so I'm going to be taking this Stila Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadow in the shade Diamond Dust. It's a little mini one that I have. And I'm just going to be putting that like right on the inner corner, like up into here, because it is a silvery shade. I just don't have a gold shade, but I wanted to use like a little bit of some sparkle. To blend those, we're just going to go back into that gold color and just kind of color over it like this so that they blend together. Alright, so I just did my eyebrows off camera. I used the ColourPop Brow Boss in light brown and the Essence Make Me Brow in Soft Brownie Brows. These are just my usual brow products that I usually use to do my eyebrows. So we're going to move on to the face, and then we're going to finish our eyes later. To start off, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Rose Primer Water that we used to spray our brush earlier, and I'm going to start off with this as primer and then also another item as a primer. The next primer I'm going to be using is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer. It's the Smoothing Primer. I'm going to be using this just in my T-zone to cover up those pores and also any texture that I may have. Next, we're going to be going in with foundation. I'm going to be using the Revlon Photo Ready Candid Foundation. It looks like this. I'm going to be using it in the shade 120. I did try this foundation out yesterday, and I actually really liked how it held up throughout the day. And it's kind of like a BB cream consistency. It doesn't make my pores or my lines look super noticeable. I really like the way this looks. And then I'm just going to be going in with that same Beauty Blender. So I did try out that Revlon concealer that came out with the Candid line. It looks like this. I tried this out yesterday and it's not my favorite. I do have to test it out a little bit more, but first impression wise it wasn't the best. It was kind of drying. It didn't settle into my lines as much as that Essence one if you watched my last video, but it was just a little bit drying and just not my favorite. So I decided to use the ColourPop No Filter Concealer today in the shade 4. This is what we used to prime our eyelids, so I'm going to be using that under my eyes as well. So I'm just going to start with it under my eyes, and I'm going to be using the pointed side of this. So far so good on this concealer. I like the way it looks. It doesn't accentuate my lines. It is pretty light. I did get a pretty light color, but it still looks pretty good. So we're just going to take that concealer on our forehead, down our nose, and also on our chin to just highlight a little bit. Now that we are nice and highlighted, we are going to go back in with that Maybelline powder that we used to set our eyelids, and we're going to be setting our under eyes. Going in with my Wet n Wild Photo Focus powder and this Essence brush. It's so cute. It's like in the shape of a little flower. I'm going to be setting the rest of my face down. To contour today, I am going to be taking the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and to contour we're going to be using this shade, and then to bronze we're going to be using this shade. This one's a little bit cooler toned, so that's why I usually like to contour with this one. That same palette and this yellow color in the middle, I'm going to be using the Beauty Blender, dipping it in there, and then just going right underneath that contour line to kind of sharpen it up a little bit. Milani blush in Luminoso, typical. Then for highlight, we're taking the ColourPop highlight in Flexitarian. This is so pretty. I can't stop using it. Then we're just going to set all that powder down with that same spray that we used at the beginning. Alright, so we are going to finish off our eyes by doing our water lines. So we're going to be using the same palette, and we're basically going to be following that order that we did on our eyes. So starting off with that brown, then the orange, then the yellow. So for eyelashes today, we are just going to be curling our lashes and using mascara. I'm using my Voluminous Lash Paradise as always. You can put falsies on if you want, but I am not going to put falsies on today. I feel like this look would look good with just mascara, so that's what I'm going to be doing. For lips, we're going to be going in with this Maybelline lipstick. It's in the shade Daringly New. I don't know if they even sell these anymore, but this shade is so pretty. So I'm just going to be putting that all over my lips. We are also going to be putting a gloss on top of that, so we're just going to be going in with the Buxom White Russian gloss. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. To give you a little bit of an idea about the palette, I did like the way that the colors look. I like the way that this ended up, but when I was blending it, I do feel like it was really difficult to blend the colors together, and I wasn't getting much pigment on my brush right away. So it did take some time to blend these colors and get some color on my eyes, but once you do it, it does look really pretty. I do really like the way the concealer went on. It went on really easily. It blended really well. It looks really good underneath my eyes so far. I will have to do a little bit of a wear test on the concealer and let you know in future videos how I like it. Thank you guys again for watching. Please come back and see future videos. Subscribe to my channel. And let me know in the comments below if you want any certain looks for me to do. See you guys in my next video. Bye!